got the whole up there. Yeah, puts it down to 62. Then we're going to be saying, oh, it's too hot.
We don't turn it up so high.
Which, it's supposed to get up to the 60s today.
No.
Yep.
Yep.
And for being the 60s Monday too.
And then Tuesday,
25-inch snow.
ice stuff.
Hush.
Then it gets warmer.
I don't like it either.
So it's springtime, and you know how spring can bring in, what do you call those?
Snow.
Spring storms.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna last long.
I remember way back, way back, I think it was in the mid-90s, I had a class reunion in Las Vegas, and I was looking forward to that. I had bought my daughter a nice little LeBaron, and I took her car and drove 13 hours straight to get to Vegas. And before that, I got really sick. The day before, I was really sick. And I said, Lord, if you want me to go, you know, I'm going to have to feel better, and the road's going to have to be clear. Well, the day before, we had this snowstorm, spring storm. And, but when I got up, the sun came out, and the roads were clear, and I felt 100% better. And so I got to drive all the way to Vegas and back. The Lord is good.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
So talking about obedience, and you think that obedience is an important thing? How many of you have been parents and you raised kids, and the thing that you would like your kids to do is to listen to what you tell them, right? Now, I know most of you had kids that obeyed you with every single commandment or words that you said to tell them to do something, and ask them to do something, and they did it just like an angel, right? You wish. And it seems like, you know, you think things will get better, but then they grow and become adults. And you think things are going to be better, but they are not as good. As, I mean, those kid days look like they were angels, right? When you think about that, think about our Heavenly Father when He looks at His children, us, and when He has already told us to do this and not do these things. What do you think our Heavenly Father thinks about us when we disobey what He has told us to do? Right? Aren't you glad that our God is a gracious, compassionate God, and that He is slow to anger and abounding in love? He's patient. He wishes that no one would perish, but all come to repentance. Aren't you glad that we serve a God that no matter how far we stray away from Him and how strong-willed child we may be, is it because our strong will that gets us in trouble? No. Because we think we know better than God. Now, how stupid is that? Right? How many of you have ever thought you knew better than God? Huh? Okay. So here you're doing what you're supposed to do, then you decide you're going to go this way, and God says, you're going the wrong way. And you know what? I'm going to allow you to go the wrong way. I'm going to let you do your own thing. And then see what happens. And many of us finally, when we get to the end of our rope, some people say hit bottom, and we got nowhere else to look but up, come to a realization that God knew what he was talking about for the first time, in the first place. You see, again, so many people think of a set of rules as demanding, confining, and restrictive, right? In fact, we have a nation now that there's a lot of people that want to get rid of all the cops. Defund the police. Now, how crazy is that? In fact, how stupid is that? I don't like to use that word stupid, but it is. Is that when you have a group of people that do not want to obey authority, they reject authority, throw it out like, you know, we don't want to listen to these people that are trying to keep us in the right path. Does that sound stupid? But you know, we're just as stupid, right? Because when God has set down laid down the law for us on how we can live our lives to have a good society, we say, God, you don't know what you're talking about. Get rid of those laws. We don't need the Ten Commandments. As a nation, that's what we have done. We have thrown the Ten Commandments out. You won't see any school today. Well, maybe in Texas you will. Because Texas made a law to say that you have to have the Ten Commandments in every school hall. What would it be like if Alliance had to have the Ten Commandments put on every room, every school in Nebraska?
Whoa.
Do you see something that can happen? And not just have it posted on the wall, but maybe refer to it, the teachers refer to it and said, this is how you should live your lives. Can you imagine the transformation that would take with our school system? Politics. How many of you like politics? Huh? Well, when it's going in your favor, you like it, right? When your candidate you're voting for wins, you like it, right? But what happens when they lose? Do we get bitter? You know, sometimes, I shouldn't just say sometimes, I say all the time. We tend to be complainers, don't we? How many of you ever have complained against the government? Whether it's local government, state government, or the government of the United States. Your name. What do you do about what's happening? Oh, we can't do nothing. And you go around and talk to other people about how bad it is. One thing I know, both sides, right, of any argument, political argument, like we have one going on here in Alliance, right, about the new police chief. And when you read on Facebook all the accusations and the turmoil, the bickering and the fighting and the anger that is displayed is just despicable. Do you know what the truth is about the whole situation? I don't. I have done some investigating and I got my opinions, but do I really know what actually happened? No. And see, the thing is that there's so much that can go on in society that we don't understand. And we find out that something is not going the way we like it, so we complain. But you know what? What are you doing? When you understand that there's a problem, do you just talk about the problem and start pointing your finger at other people? It's his fault, it's her fault. Or do you actually desire to be a part of the solution? You know what I'm talking about? So, there's a problem. What do you do in politics? Is there something that you can do? What can you do? You can write to the, yeah. You can vote for the right person that is going to vote or make laws and help the things that is desirable to go the way it should. Instead, you know what we vote with? It's called the pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that really bothers me is that it seems like the people with the most money wins.
Sure does.
You know what I'm saying? Buying votes, right? Isn't that happening today? I just got an email from Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah.
I'm little, just 2 percentage points away from my contender. That's a Democrat, and if I don't get more money, he's going to win. And he's asking everybody in the whole nation to give him money so he can win. You know, is that right? I don't believe that I have any business sending money to Texas when there's enough money that needs to be raised here for our own state.
Right on.
And so, you know, I think about the original founding fathers and how they did it. You know, it was like people were working at their jobs. They go to D.C. just to take care of business, and they come back home and work, right? They never had a lifetime medical insurance for the rest of their life, even they serve long term. You see how messed up we are? How did we get that way? Well, you know what? God warns us in His Word about all these things. You remember that the Israelites, the Hebrew people, they looked around and they saw everybody else having kings. Right? Oh, we want a king. I said, okay, you guys want a king? I'll give you a king. Was that a good thing? See, God desires to be the King of kings and the Lord of lords over His people. And when we reject God and we get some other person to be in control, guess what happens? That's where you're going to pay your homage to. That's where you're going to pay your tithe to, right? Because, you know, it's 10% of your income that you have to give to the government, right? Or do you wish?
Yeah.
Oh. The thing is that if we don't obey God's ways, then we're going to end up in trouble. There's no way out of that. And God knows, and He tries to protect us from all the bad stuff that can happen to us if we don't obey His commandments. So, here's Saul, right? Who was Saul?
Paul.
No. That's the other Saul.
Was the first king of
He was the first king of Israel. Was he a good king?
No. Started out.
He started out good, right? But what happened? You know that phrase, pride goes before the fall, and that's what happened. Because he felt, oh, I'm God. He didn't say that, but he says, I'm God, and you're going to do things the way I want to. And when God told him what to do, he went in the direction. Samuel said to Saul, I am the one the Lord sent to anoint you king over His people Israel. So listen and obey, right? Obey now to the message from the Lord. So Saul, I don't know what happened there. Anyways, it says, this is what the Lord Almighty says, I will punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel. And when they waylaid them as they came up to Egypt. Now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. What did he say?
All.
Oh.
Genocide. Ooh, that's kind of mean, God. Right? Wipe them out. He says, do not spare them. Put to death men, women, and children, and infants, cattle, sheep, camels, and donkeys. What were they supposed to do? Put to death who and what? Everything. Oh, that's mean, God. Huh? Does it sound like it's mean? How many of you think it sounds mean? How many of you think it sounds unfair? But if you know God, there is a reason that He said that. It's because He loved His people that He told them to do this. Did they listen? So Saul summoned the men and mustered them at Telaim, 200,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 from Judah. Saul went to the city of Amalek and set ambush in the ravine. Then he said to the Canaanites, go away, lead the Amalekites, so that I do not destroy you along with them. Or you showed kindness to all the Israelites, and when they came up out of Egypt, so the Canaanites moved away from the Amalekites. Then Saul attacked the Amalekites all the way from Havilah to Shur, near the eastern border of Egypt. And he took the Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive. You see anything wrong with that? Huh? Alive? The king alive? Why? Why did Saul do that? What did God say? Annihilate them. Get rid of every single one. Put to death every single one of them. And he spared the life of the king. And all his people he totally destroyed with the sword. But Saul and the army spared Agag, the best of the sheep, oops, the cattle, oops, the fat calves, and then the word of the Lord came to Samuel. Guess what the Lord's going to say? You ever do that? Huh? Anybody ever do that to you? Like, if you don't do something right, you know, you get that finger, right? I regret that I have made Saul king because he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instruction. Samuel was angry and he cried out to the Lord all that night. Early in the morning, Samuel got up and went to meet Saul. But he was told Saul has gone to Carmel. There he has set up a monument in his own honor and has turned and gone down to Gilgal. You see anything wrong with that? Already you can see what's happening to Saul. I did this, right? It was, and he's taking the glory to himself when he really didn't do it. The Lord was telling him what he should do, and then he disobeyed. And when Samuel reached him, Saul said, the Lord bless you, right? Nothing's wrong, right? The Lord bless you. I have carried out the Lord's instruction. But Samuel said, what then is this bleating of sheep in my ears? What is this lowing of cattle that I hear? What sound is that? Huh? If you heard that, what would you think? What is this sound? What did God tell them to do?
Kill
Huh?
everything.
Including the animals. And Saul answered, the soldiers brought them away from the Amalekites, and they spared the best of the sheep